What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Where I've been sat at home resting and recovering so much, it's given me lots of time to go through all the old parkour footage that I've gotten, and I've found some pretty funny parkour fails that I've done. So today what we're going to do is we're going to watch those parkour fails and we're going to rate each one out of 10 and give a little bit of explanation on each one as to kind of how it happened and what happened afterwards. So we're going to jump straight into it right away, and I'm going to try and go in order of timing, so which one came first, which one came second, which one came third, etc. So the first one is this one here, and this was within a month of training parkour. I was still very new to parkour. I'd obviously not been doing it for a very long time, and I was decided that I wanted to start filming some of my videos, and this one was filmed on a really bad Toshiba Handycam, so please ignore the quality. But yeah, I'll just play it first and then I'll explain it afterwards. So yeah, straight ankle thing. I basically went to do a competition. I was out with one of the guys that I knew from school. We decided to start parkour training together, and we were cycling, trying to look for spots, and this was one of the spots that we found, and I was like, oh, that looks like a really nice Kong pre. So I decided to give it a try. I'd only just learnt Kongs a couple of days before, but I felt like relatively comfortable with them. And as I go over the wall, I come over the top, and just that body positioning is almost like a pike. And because of that body positioning, I obviously hit the edge of the wall, straight legs, didn't bend the knees at all, I don't think. Yeah, as I come in, there's no bend on those knees whatsoever, which causes the ankle thing to go up my leg. I actually shared this clip on Facebook. This was back in 2012, and I had a couple of the story guys on there, and I think one of them commented just laughing, and I don't blame them because this is quite funny. It is quite a funny fail. It wasn't that painful. I think at the time I found it quite painful because I didn't have an ankle thing before, but out of 10 I'm probably going to give this one a 2. It was kind of a bit of a surprise, but it wasn't anything that kind of stopped me from training. I think I managed to get it just after, but now that spot is destroyed, doesn't exist anymore. So cool. So moving on to number 2 is, I think, the dive Kong bail. So before I show you guys this one, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of context. This spot is the subway spot, and it is probably like one of the best spots in Horsham. It's one of those spots that has like level up challenges. So what you'll do is you'll kind of go there and you'll try different stuff, and it will kind of help you show where you're at with your training. Especially in those early days, there's a kind of a lot of moves there that, you know, is your first big rail pre, there's your first big stride down, there's your dash, things like that. It's one of those like kind of nice spots, and I've always really liked it. So I decided, I think within 6 months into training, so at this point I'd been training for about 6 months, I decided that I wanted to give the dive Kong on the block a try. And yeah, I think, I'll show you the clip, but basically on this first one here, I kind of go for the dive Kong, which is fine, but as I come through, you can see I'm very like hunched over, and I think my hands were like just too far back. They should be on this further side of the block, but they're back here. So my dive wasn't that powerful. I don't get like a lot of height off of this here. Like, I get a bit of height, but not enough. Like, it's not enough to get me over the top. And then on this attempt, this is the fail attempt. Came in quite powerful. I felt quite confident with it. Straight over onto my backside. I'll move this out of the way and play it one more time because it's quite a funny clip. Yeah, straight over. So interestingly, so what was weird with this was it didn't actually hurt like at all. I kind of hit my bum on the floor and I hit my hands on the floor and my wrists, but I kind of just hit the floor, rolled over and got back up, and everyone was laughing. Like, all my friends were laughing, I was laughing, didn't feel any pain whatsoever, which is quite good because it was quite a hard slam onto the floor, but I don't know if it was whether because I was young or whether I just didn't hit the floor that hard. It just didn't hurt. So I can't really rate this on a pain scale, but if I was, I would probably have to, you know, maybe a 1. Like, it was a bit of a shock, but it really wasn't bad at all, and it was quite a funny clip. And again, this one also went on Facebook and did quite well. So the next one is also taking back to the subway block. This time I look at doing the dive roll over the top of it, and this was something that I'd been looking at for quite a long time, and I decided that on a kind of a small training session on a Saturday with one of my old friends, Robbie, I wanted to give it a go. So I borrowed his hoodie and I was like, today's the day that I'm going to do it. Again, I'm really sorry for the quality of a lot of these clips, but I'll turn that audio down a little bit. So this is the first attempt. The first attempt is the one where I fail. So I kind of go in and straight over, and then afterwards I get it over the top. So the one that we need to focus on is obviously that first half of the clip there. So I kind of come in, I just go up way too high. Like for a dive roll over that block, I'm far too high to go over. And I think I realized I went too high because I was kind of drilling the dive Kong, I think, to help me get ready for the dive roll, that I just went too high. And obviously I go up there and I'm like, well, I'm going to be reaching down so far through the dive roll, it's going to be painful. So I kind of stopped myself and I kind of knocked my knee and my shin into the side of that block, and that was a little bit tender. Wasn't anything that like stopped me from training, because obviously I did the roll afterwards, but hitting my knee and my shin on the side of that block was quite painful. So this one I'm going to give probably about a 4 or 5. Like it gave me a gash on the shin. Wasn't too painful. It wasn't anything that kind of wrote me off from training, but it was a little bit tender. So yeah, I'm going to give that about a 5, and I'll play the clip just one more time. Good recovery coming out of that, to be fair. Over the top. Nice. I need to go back and do that again soon. It's been a long time since I've done the dive roll. I want to see if I can still do it. It's quite a nice one to do. I also haven't dive Konged it for a while, so maybe that's something I work towards once I'm back training. Cool, so the next one is a running precision. I think this is the failed one, I think. I'll play it. It's quite a big running precision. We're running in.
Yeah!
Again, this is one that doesn't hurt. Like this did not hurt. I kind of came in, foot slipped forward, and I kind of reached down to the floor and then into roll. Like it's weird how your body does these different movements when it's trying to protect and save itself. Naturally, that's not a movement you would do, but for some reason my body thought it was going to try and save itself. That's the way it's going to do it. And I thought that was really, really cool. And that's something I always reflect on in training when looking at clips and stuff. It's like when you slip and you fall, your body is very, very good at protecting itself. So yeah, this one here, I've not done this since. I only did this once. This was back in 2014. So this was about 10 years ago. And I kind of run in. It's quite a big jump, and I just can't commit to it again. It was really far. I think I did get this one afterwards, actually. I do remember because there is a clip somewhere. But just kind of coming in, like it's quite a scary jump. You don't realize like this rock here does send you, but this is about, I think, about 15 or 16 size 10 feet. So it's quite a large gap, and it's kind of awkward as well because they're rocks. They're not flat surfaces. They're kind of uneven and not unstable, but they're a bit bumpy. So you're not landing on a flat. It's very easy for you to ankle thing on those. So again, this one didn't really hurt. Maybe a 2 or a 3. It wasn't enough that it kind of rocked me off. Obviously, I look a bit miserable and moody walking ahead there, but it didn't, rock anything too hard. Didn't hurt. Like I just got up and did it again. So I'll give it maybe a 3 because I think it did give me a little bit of a bump, but it wasn't anything too severe. So I just wanted to say at this point as well, I know I'm going through my own clips and I'm sat here and I'm talking about the things I've done, or I'm one of the only people to do that, but I've done nothing for the last 3 weeks but sit here doing nothing, feeling sorry for myself. And I think going through my old footage and kind of giving myself a little bit of a boost of it has been really important, and it kind of gives me that motivation to get back towards training. I can't do any exercise for 6 months, so for me this is a good way of me kind of reflecting on my old training, having a look at it and wondering what I can do to be better when I get back to training. So for my next clip, what I've had to do is I've actually had to pull up an old YouTube channel that I used to run, because the clip that I've saved is the actual success, not the fail. And I wanted to show the fail before the success, basically. But this was back in 2014. This was the summer of 2014, I think. So this is slightly earlier than the clip that I just showed. But this is me trying a running cat leap at RSA. It was quite high. There was quite a drop involved. And I think I was one of the youngest people to do it. And I don't know how many people have done it since. I want more people to do it because it's really nice. It's actually a perfect cat leap. It's just a little bit awkward. So yeah, I'll play the clip. You'll kind of see, kind of run in, ping my feet and drop straight down to the floor. So I'll kind of reverse that back in. I definitely threw it. I'm not gonna lie, it was so scrappy when I did it. I really just threw this jump, really scrappy. Hands in, feet hit at the same time as the hands, so my body kind of pings in and pings off, and then I have no choice but to take the drop straight onto the floor. And at the time, I asked my brother Rowan and my friend Reese to catch me if I dropped. Definitely wasn't going to work because I was much bigger than them and I was heavier than them, and they were quite small and skinny at the time. So there was no way that they were going to catch me on that drop. But they did their best, and as I'm on the floor, they're checking I'm okay, and my brother even puts my hat back on my head for me. I'll pull up the success very quickly. The Isle of Wight video never came, by the way, in case you were wondering. But the success video, okay, so this is the success. Again, super scrappy. I'm going to turn it down because we do show.
Sound, mate! Sound!
But yeah, it's proper scrappy. Climb up was awful. I think we realised how much of a thing it was for me to do it because I wanted it for so long. And I really wanted to do it. And I think this was like on like a Wednesday evening or something. I spent so long just here trying it and practicing it. And yeah, just I could have gone up a bit higher. But
Sound, mate!
Yeah.
Sound!
Really happy with that. I think this was one of like my biggest achievements within parkour. So for the next one, I also going to give a little bit of a disclaimer to the YouTube people that are probably watching this. Obviously, I'm okay. I'm absolutely fine. I'm alive. I'm here. And what I'm doing is I'm going through these clips and I'm looking at it and I'm kind of giving some commentary on them and explaining what went wrong and how you can stop everything from going wrong. I'm obviously not promoting anyone to get hurt or harm themselves. I'm just trying to teach you how to be better at parkour. So the next one is pretty savage. This is me back in 2017, and this is the beginning of a training edit that I actually made when I recovered, basically. So this, or was this? No, this is a video I made whilst I was recovering. But essentially, start here and I run in for a Kong front and I just hit the spring floor and implode my ankle pretty savagely. You obviously don't see it because I kind of go out the frame. We were shooting a Christmas video for Crawley Parkour, which is why the Christmas hat is on. But as I come in, obviously I take up my Kong front. I'm like sideways almost, so I don't hit it on like a really nice Kong front at all. And I think at this point it was quite a big distance. I've been training them for a few weeks. I think I just ran in and gassed it and gave it so much and then hit it, and it just threw everything off. Like I kind of went over. I think I used to do the Kong front to dash, and I think here I went for the dash. It was just, you know, I was way too high and the block was way too low, and I kind of come down, hit the floor on my ankle, and as I kind of walk back in, I'm walking on my bad ankle. So my right ankle was the one that I hurt, and I'm walking on that, and I think that did a lot of damage to it. This was quite early in a session as well, so I was waiting for about an hour and a half for the session to end. Obviously they weren't sending an ambulance out because it wasn't a head injury or anything really savage. It was just an idiot breaking their ankle, and it really hurt. I went to hospital the next morning. I ended up breaking my ankle in 2 places, one down the back and one down the side, and I was in a cast for about 3 months, and it took me about 6 months to get back to training. Also, this was during the time that we were setting up the indoor parkour gym as well, so throughout the whole building process, through the first blocks going in, through the opening day to the jam sessions, I wasn't able to train, and that sucked. But I think one of the good things here is my time out from a broken ankle was 6 months, and time that I've got out of exercise now because of my head injury is 6 months as well. So I think just looking back at this clip has shown to me that I can actually wait that time and I can actually work towards something. And really 6 months isn't a massive amount of time. You know, I think it's November is when I'm allowed to start exercising again, so I'm really looking forward to that. And I think just looking at this clip shows me that I can actually do these sorts of things. And for the broken ankle one, I'd probably give it like a 9 or a 10. It was really painful. It's one of the worst pains I've ever had practicing parkour. Now the final one is probably the most brutal one in this video. I'm just going to play the clip and then I'm going to explain it afterwards. So. I don't know if YouTube is going to allow me to show the full clip, so I'm just going to put it back. Essentially, off the wall, down, and obviously on the floor, like that. Now, this one was really weird. I'm really comfortable with side flips, or at least at this point, I was really comfortable with doing side flips. And I decided to try this little line, and I'd done it a couple of times before, actually. Before we decided to film it. Popped up on the wall, side flip off, and I kind of just up and straight onto the floor. One of the worst ways that you could possibly save yourself is by putting your hands down and just falling straight to the side. So what I was worried about on this one was falling off onto my back and onto my bum and hitting the floor really hard. And what actually happened with this one is I fell so hard I thought I'd dislocated or had broken my back or my tailbone in some way. And at the time I was training with my friend Oliver, and we were both a little bit shocked about it. And I kind of waited a little bit, but I couldn't walk. I had to kind of step on a skateboard and use the skateboard to get me home because I couldn't walk at all. And then the next day I went to the hospital and they looked at it and they checked and they were like, it's not broken, it's absolutely fine, but you've done the right thing by coming to the hospital. So for me, that was really good in the sort of sense of I didn't waste the NHS's time by going and seeing it and getting it checked. But what they did say, and I didn't know this was a thing, but I did something called muscle contusion, which is where you hit a muscle so hard that it kind of shocks and it seizes up like that. And I basically bruised my muscle and shocked my muscle because I'd hit it so hard that it kind of went into trauma, basically, and it kind of locked up. And it was quite a long time for it to heal. I think I was out for about 6 weeks and no training, and then it was only for a little bit. Definitely one of the worst pains I've ever experienced. I really wouldn't want to go through that pain again. I'd actually say that this is probably worse pain than the broken ankle. I think we obviously all know recently what the worst pain I went through was, but definitely, you know, this here I think is the piece de resistance of my training injuries. This, I hit the floor so hard, such a silly challenge, and it hurt. So that was me going through some of the parkour fails that I've gotten over the last 12 years. They're not too savage. I've been really, really lucky, but there obviously have been a few instances that I've had that really hurt. I tried something a little bit different with this video as well. I tried a multi-camera setup, so I would be interested to know kind of what your thoughts are on this. I'm going to be experimenting with a lot of content whilst I'm at home, whilst I'm resting, so any feedback is massively appreciated. If you did enjoy the video, you can click the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. You can also follow me on Instagram, which is at the bottom of the screen here. The Contendant clothing shop will be opening again soon, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.